Well, hello, Miami, and good afternoon. I am GIO with GIO Balance. I am your local community health and life coach, bringing you ways to recharge your life and always figuring out how to balance your well being. Today, we have a special edition segment around health and specifically health journey. I think today you will definitely relate to this story through seeking certain results and the challenges and obstacles that you find along the journey. We know that this journey does not happen overnight. And so my guest today is going to share a little bit about her own journey, kind of the things that she struggled with, what did she do? And believe it or not, it's nothing crazy and monumental. It's just the little things that we can do to get to where we want to get to. So with that, please allow me to welcome my guest today, Natalia Chinea. Hello, ma'am. How are you?
I'm well. Good afternoon.
Thank you for coming. So before we dive into this health journey and kind of where you started, what you did, and your results, because I think everyone also will be curious about the results, because from sitting next to you, you are very beautiful and you look like very active and in shape and you take care of yourself. But certainly, when people are seeing that, they'll want to know your story and your struggles, right? So, but before we do that, please tell everyone, our audience, who are you? A little bit about yourself.
So my name is Natalia Chinea, and I am an interior designer. I have my own firm here locally, and I'm an avid traveler. I'm a Miami girl, so just out here empty nesting, enjoying every minute, living my best life, like they say.
So would you say that you have a pretty fast track, busy lifestyle?
I don't like to use the word busy because
Okay.
I feel like there's this negative connotation around busy. And yes, I am very active, very active. Lots of travel, lots of moving parts to my business with interior design projects, delivery installations. My projects actually don't have any local projects, so I travel to do these delivery installations. And I'm creating a couple of other things with my business. So yes, very active. There's a lot of movement. There's a lot of activity.
I was going to say, yeah, you used the perfect word, which is active lifestyle. And I think everyone can relate to that because even though you travel, right, we're constantly busy and we're finding ourselves now getting back into that rhythm. And I don't want to say old cadence of where we were before the pandemic, but we are starting to kind of get into that groove again. And I think being very careful and cautious and sharing your story is going to help others in a little bit of what they're looking for as well. But let's step back a little bit. And I often, during the segment, like to educate and inform people around coaches, the difference between, therapists, physical trainers, coaches. And coaches are really someone who guides you and supports you, holds you accountable in order to reach the results that you want. And you are somebody that definitely has always reached out for support. So let's start as to what made you, or where was the thought of, I'm going to enlist, a health coach to help me through this process to seek what I was looking for. So where did the thought come from and what was the results that you were looking for?
So yes, I have invested in coaching and I've had individual life coaching. I have a business coach right now to help me with my goals. And with the health coaching, I know what doesn't work and I want somebody to show me something else. That's in all the coaching that I've received. One of the things that they teach us or that I've learned is to stop and pause and reflect and look back and say, okay, what worked? What didn't work? And what's missing? What do you get to add? And for me, there was something missing, right? Which was the result, which was there's a piece of information, there's a habit, there's something that I'm not doing that I don't know it, that's getting in the way.
Yeah.
And so I met you at a women's mastermind and you had a program and I was very intrigued because I was ready to have those results. I was ready to feel good in my body, in my skin, with my choices.
Yeah.
And have the results. The results were I need to fit into my dresses.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to say, it sounds like your result was to feel good, but how you would feel good would be in order to fit into your dresses,
Yes.
Probably have the right habits, all of that. When we first met, you were not a fan of the word exercise. And you were not one to really be very active at the time. So tell me about that and what changed that finally worked for you and you started creating that movement in your life? Because that is one of the things, or at least part of the formula that has helped you.
Absolutely. And I'll say, so growing up, Miami girl, my mom kept us in the house and I was not very active. I didn't play sports. It was just a very sedentary lifestyle. And then as an adult, that's kind of what it became. Between high school and having my own business, there's a lot of sitting involved. There's not a lot of activity, and I've just never been physically active. People talk about this gym guy. It's not a guy, it's a place. Yeah. And it was never my thing. However, it did become a choice. And so what happened for me, and I'll share this, is I had an elective surgery, which is a very personal and private choice. And I chose to support myself and maintain that by doing something I'd never done. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was the gym. So when I was cleared to exercise, even though it was light exercise, lightweight, I joined the gym and I started on the Stairmaster. However, the positioning of the Stairmaster was very strategic because I could see the whole entire facility from where I was. I was a little higher up and I could see everything. And it really was interesting because I'm a visual learner, so I know that about myself. And I watched how people interact in a gym. I watched how people move, how they work out, what they're doing. And I did that for several weeks. I was only in the gym maybe 30 minutes at a time. And I checked the box, I went to the gym, I exercised. Mm-hmm. And then it became like, how do I fit into this very intimidating space? Mm-hmm. Right? For me, I don't know how to use the equipment. Everybody's already fit. It was the imposter. Like, yeah. I'm not supposed to be here. And so it was really effective. And then once I created the habit with accountability, right, of going every day, I was able to actually just connect with a few people, and they're my gym friends. Mm-hmm. But if I wasn't there for a few days, people noticed. And I live alone. I work at home mostly by myself. So the gym did become a place where I got to see humans. Yeah. And I got to be around people. So that piece of it shifted something for me when I could see how people move in the gym and how they interact and how they use the equipment and what it looks like to be a part of this culture, right, lifestyle, mm-hmm. and then adopt it. And now it's a thing. If I didn't go in the morning, I'm going to go at night. And if I didn't go today, I'm for sure going to go tomorrow. Yeah. And I still hold myself accountable. I've been able to create self-accountability. Yes. But it's taken a really long time.
Well, and thank you for using my words. You just said it took a really long time. And again, this journey doesn't happen overnight. And you gradually became more active and more aware of that, because we do get to point out here that you started with your stairs in your building.
Yes.
That's what you would do. And so I think that is our number one point here today, in that find what works for you, because movement in your life on a daily basis is important.
And it can look so many different ways. So you're right. I didn't go to the gym. The gyms were closed. It was pandemic. And what could I do? So beyond the walking, I live in a 35-floor building. So I would take the elevator all the way down and then take the stairs all the way up, and created that. I played music for myself, and it became something that I was doing for me.
Correct.
And it felt good. At this point, and it's only been a year, this is the only gym membership I've ever had that I actually use consistently. I enjoy the experience.
Yeah. So just pointing out again that it's a gradual process, and it's about starting, just like Natalia has started for us today. The first step to your health is creating movement mm-hmm. in your life. Yeah. So thank you for that, and thank you for sharing, because there were so many things about that you just shared that I think that a lot of people can really relate to, especially being female, especially having that lifestyle. So now I want to jump into what really is part of the foundation and fundamentals to health and well-being, and those are habits.
Okay.
So talk to me a little bit about the habits you had before to now the habits you have today that made the difference in gaining the results.
There's so many. And so it's not like this magic pill or this one thing. What I've learned is that it's a lot of little choices. It's all the little choices that I'm making every day. So for me, it's I set my phone to do not disturb. All of my monitors, I turn the blue light automatically turns off. And I know that my body's already programming itself to go to bed. I try to be in bed at 10 o'clock. I get up in the mornings. I have my rituals. I don't like to say routines. Routines
Yes.
feel yucky, but my
Great
rituals in
word.
the morning. I make my bed. I've accomplished something first thing in the morning. I wash my face. I water my plants. It's my meditation in the morning. So it can look a lot of different ways. And when I'm traveling, there's lots of variables there.
Of course.
And I do still try to maintain that 10 to 7 sleep schedule. And on the days where it's the most challenging, I have your voice in my head saying, what's the one thing you can do today? And I'm like, I can drink water. And so I can drink water today. And I know that that's something that's going to support me getting through the day and to starve off cravings, right?
Yes.
But being prepared, even today, if you go in my bag, I have a little bag of protein chips with me.
Yeah.
And so just knowing, like, I'm going to get hungry. I might not have time to eat. So not letting myself get to that point where I'm starving and I'm going to drive through the first drive-through that shows up and make that choice because I wasn't prepared. And I'm not saying I don't do it. I do.
Correct.
I have moments where I'm hungry and I make choices. I still just always try to make the best choice
Correct.
that's possible based on what's available.
Yes, and the language that you're using and the information that you're giving, again, is so valuable here because we have, the first piece, which is involving the movement into your daily life, but now you're talking about habits. And what I heard from you, which is I think is really important for our audience to understand, is that you have established a framework. Within that framework, there's a cadence to how you wake up in the morning and how you go to bed. And then everything in between is what you work at intentionally. And there's days that it may not be so great because life is going to happen, but other times it can be really on point. And I love what you said because it is true. That's one of the things that I do give people guidance on. And that is, what is something, that one thing, right, that you can do well? What are you doing well today that you can continue really capitalize on that? Because we know that the things that you're not doing well, it's going to take a little bit more energy, a little bit more intention and commitment, but let's get those things out of the way. So I love that. So you created this cadence, you are taking care of yourself, and you're capitalizing on what you do well. So what's next? Tell me about what was the next secret formula to your own success?
I'm in discovery. I think that's a great question. I'll say this. I don't consider myself a fitness anything. I'm a human person who's living in Miami, who's doing her best. Since our coaching, which it's been over 2 years, I've been in your program twice, I have let go of somewhere between 15 and 20 pounds. And I'm a lot stronger and I feel a lot more able to do things that I couldn't do before. HIIT classes, boxing classes, yoga classes. And so for me, it's because I love travel and it's my passion. And my hashtag is where in the world is Nat Chinea? And people call me and ask, not how are you, where are you?
Yeah.
I stay connected to the fact that currently, as we get older, that the only way that I'm going to be able to continue to do what I'm doing is because I'm exercising, is because I'm sleeping, is because I'm hydrating, it's because I'm taking vitamins, it's because I'm putting my health and well-being at the forefront every opportunity I get.
So it's just not one thing then.
It's not any one thing.
That's the formula, correct. And you have found what's worked for you.
And I keep tweaking,
Yes.
right? I keep tweaking it and I keep checking in. I was just out of town for almost a whole month. And I didn't come back any heavier. I didn't come back any more bloated because even while I'm away, I stay connected to, I want to feel good. And if I eat all this food or if I travel and it's just to eat or I don't sleep, I don't feel good. And I don't get what I can out of the moments that I'm there to experience.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And so first of all, congratulations, because I know how hard you worked on those 15, 16 pounds that you took off. And I have to ask you the question because I know that everyone wants to know. So how did you finally lose the weight? What can you pinpoint it to what clicked? What finally opened up those doors?
I say for me, I threw away my scale. I live in a building site. It went right down the trash chute. It kept giving me information that was really challenging and discouraging. Every time I looked down, I was like, so I threw it away. I said, I'm done with this. I'm going to focus on feeling good and doing the things that I know will support me, regardless of what the result is. And that that little choice, along with taking the time to start to measure food and weigh it, just so that I understand what portions are and how many calories, and learning what are macros and your fat and your percentages of fat, carbs, and protein, and about my body type, and how do I digest foods, how do I feel before and after I eat it. So it wasn't one thing, it was just I'm tired of feeling like this, so let's try everything.
Yes.
Let me call all my friends and see who knows what, that little thing that's going to take me over the edge.
And it's important to repeat what you just said, which is it's not one thing. It was a process of testing and tweaking and really paying attention to the response that your body had to how you were treating it. Mm-hmm. But specifically, and this is the part that I love to share with everyone, and that is it's not necessarily about what you are doing and what you are eating, but how you are doing things and who you are being. And I think that part of that formula was that you went on an inward journey as well. And you said a very key thing, and that is you made the decision to put your well-being and wellness at the forefront and focus on it and be intentional about it.
Yeah, I've known for a long time. I said the minute I have a breakthrough in this area of my life with consistency, I know that it's going to show up everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was just time. Everything else that I had already worked on, all the work that I had done on myself, all the work that I've been doing on my business, I was ready for that next step. And I had this, I'll say this too, I also had the space. So being self-employed, creating the business the way that I've been able to create it, not having small children or pets or anybody else that I'm responsible for, it did give me the time and space to say, okay, I don't have any more excuses. I'm completely out of excuses. There's no stories here. And so just choosing to make that a priority, and also connected to something you said during our coaching, which was it's challenging to focus on more than one thing at the same time, right? As much as we want to multitask when we can, I've noticed that the minute I start focusing on this, a little bit of focus goes away from this over here. Yeah. So it's about balance, and I like to say harmony, because it's very fluid. And so also, and this is huge, I don't beat myself up about like, I'm focusing on this but not this. I try really hard to remind myself that everything is okay. Yeah. Everything is going to be fine. Maybe I didn't drink enough water today. I can drink more water tomorrow.
Oh, and listen, and this is why I love having you here today, because consistency, and you use that word, and I often speak of this during this segment, in that it's a trickle effect in the areas that we manage in our lives: health, finances, career and calling, love and relationships, and a connection to something greater. And being consistent in one area will then trickle into other areas, as you had mentioned, around your career. And I would be doing you a disjustice if we didn't talk about your career just for a little bit, because you are a very accomplished entrepreneur with your own business. And it's not often that you meet an interior designer. Of course, definitely not me. So tell me a little bit about, because I really like to touch on purpose and passion. So tell me about your career a little bit and your passion and interior design, please.
Yes. So my chosen purpose for being here is to inspire. I'm here to inspire people, and that looks a lot of different ways. So I do share my travels, that I read books, everything that I try. I share a lot of myself on social media, the boxing, the yoga, I'm doing headstands, and people think I'm crazy. And the interior design is something that just kind of happened. It took a long time to accomplish it. I was a single mom working full-time, going to school part-time to get this degree, to learn to do this thing that I thought I'd be good at. And after 3 years in corporate America and having my fill of that, I said, I'm going to jump out a window or get pushed out a window, however that happened, and really create beautiful spaces. Also just connected to the fact that I'm good at it, not from a bragging place, but from a like...
No, you can brag. You can brag.
Like, I'm good at it, and it's easy. And so why not give myself the ability and the opportunity to make money doing something that's easy and that I'm good at? And so I do. And currently I'm designing in the multifamily realm. So what that means is owners and property managers call me when they have leasing offices that need to be refreshed, or model apartments that need to be redone, or starting from scratch with an amenity that they want to create, a clubhouse, a co-working space.
Yeah.
It's all a lot of fun. And it's just, all roads lead to furniture. We all need somewhere to sit, sleep, eat, work. And it works out that I know how, and I can, and I enjoy it.
Yes, and I love what you said, easy and fun. Right? I think that should be everyone's answer to what we do. And that's how you truly know that you are in your purpose and your passion. If we could show that picture around a little bit of her work, Andres, to just show our audience a little bit of what she does, her design spaces. She loves colors.
Colors.
Yes. And tell me a little bit about
This
this.
is a model unit that I did down south, and it was a townhouse, and I call it my Wayfair stock image because it looks like something that should be on one of their advertisements. But I work with all budgets, and sometimes that means not a whole lot of money to create spaces like this that are staged.
Thank you.
And it's fun. It's easy to do. It's just understanding the client. What are their goals? What are they trying to accomplish? How do they live? Versus how they think they live, and then giving them something that's really a representation of them.
Of who they are. Perfect. Thank you, Andres. So I think that was an important piece to point out because, again, we're all juggling so many different things. And as we get back into, the normalcy of where we were before, I think we get to be careful on not overdoing it again, becoming burnt out, being stressed, looking at all those different areas of life. You did mention that, of course, you do have the space and flexibility, but if someone out there right now is thinking, well, that's not me, so I can't do it, what would you say to them?
Yeah, you absolutely can. There's always room. I mean, with all the time that I have, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I don't binge watch something on Netflix or Hulu, or I take naps. So it's just about making it a priority. It's giving yourself the permission. Like, even if you don't have the time, you still have the choice to maybe remove something and replace it with you.
Yeah.
Literally with you, like with you, because without your health, without your wellness, without you feeling really good in your body and who you are, you can't accomplish any of the other things. You can't really be fully there for your children, your spouse, your family, your career. It's vital. It's the main component. It's you. So give yourself the time. And even if it means maybe you get up 15 minutes earlier and you go for a walk, or you meditate, or you water your plants. I mean, it looks like however it looks for everybody.
Yeah.
We all get the same 24 hours in a day.
And so you're so relatable. I mean, there's so many things that you have said today that are so relatable, and that I truly believe that nobody out there today listening or going back to this recording will not be able to relate, because you have pointed out so many obstacles that we face today. But really, what I hear from you is that you chose to put yourself first. And a lot of us struggle with that because we have children, because we have spouses, or we have friends, we have work, right? And it's putting ourselves first. So were you always like that, or was that also part of this journey?
I'm going to say that I could very easily be described as selfish by people that have known me my whole life. And as I've gotten older, I don't choose to view that as a negative. I choose to view that as I'm really assertive and I'm good with boundaries. And I think that as women, specifically, we do carry the burden of our families, and it gets harder to choose ourselves without guilt and shame. And I spoke into this at the Spark event last year, where we get to choose it, and we get to decide what does self-care look like. It can look like anything, and make yourself the priority and be unapologetic about it. Choose
yeah.
it.
Be unapologetic about it. I think right there, that's probably the message. In addition, though, reaching out for support, for guidance, for help.
Yes.
Sometimes people feel that that's a weakness, right? That they're embarrassed, that, oh, no, no, I couldn't possibly do that. So talk a little bit around that and how that has been a success for you?
Well, it took work. That's part of the work that I said I did before I even got to this point, and it was learning not just to request support, but just to receive it. There's people, everybody wants to help. People want to be a contribution, and currently I've stepped into that receptivity, and it overwhelms me sometimes when I stop to think. Like I will break out in tears when I think about the generosity of other people, complete strangers that want to support with whatever it is you're up to. So it takes a willingness to maybe be vulnerable and reach out to that person for that support. And I think that it requires that you be specific in your request. Yeah. Make sure that you know what you're asking for, and be okay with a no. Like sometimes we're gonna ask for support and we might not get it, and we get to be okay with that. But yes, it was a struggle. I am an independent woman and I can do it myself, and I don't need anybody's help. So going from that to making requests to receiving support was a stretch, and it's something that I step into and I practice and I choose, and it's still not always fun or comfortable, and I get to.
Yeah, listen, thank you for that, because again, reaching out for support is important because we can't do it all by ourselves. I think that's a big reminder for our audience today. That's why we always hear the saying of it takes a tribe, right? It takes a tribe not just to raise a family, but it takes a tribe to support you as well. Mm-hmm. And being open to receiving, because I know that for a lot of us, it's very uncomfortable. We're used to doing and giving and just becoming so depleted. So that is such an important message. I wish that I would have kept track of every single point, because you gave so many great nuggets today for our audience member. And again, I'll say it again, this is so relatable. There's so many pieces to your story and this health journey that you're on that there's a lot of us that can relate. I've been through a lot of what you've spoken about. And during these segments, I try to not, speak from my experience, because audience do need to see from your story. So before we wrap up, if anyone is interested in connecting with you, following your journey, how do they find you?
Oh, I'm on Instagram as Nat Chinea. Okay. And I have a website, natchinea.com, where you can find my interior design, my home staging, and then the Laid collection, which is something that I'm working on that hasn't launched yet. So that's under wraps. So yeah, social media, I share lots, the travel, the boxing classes, the yoga classes. A lot of me is there, and I enjoy it. It's fun. It's fun. It's a fun story. So.
Yay. I love it. I love it. So there you have it, right? This was a special edition segment. Let's call it that, because for the first time, we were able to really dig into a journey, a health journey, with consistency, with intention, with making up their mind.
With breakdowns. Yes. And with lots of room to continue, right? There's still what's next.
Yes, so. With it didn't happen overnight, but she just started. And I think that wherever you are in your health journey, keep going, do the things that you know you can do well, and reach out to support, reach out to Natalia, reach out to me, because we are here to support one another. So I cannot thank you enough, Natalia, for coming on and sharing your story. It was so valuable, and I just would love to have you back again. And I want to witness your continued progress. So do you feel like this is a maintenance thing for you, or are you continuing with more goals that you're seeking?
I have more goals.
Okay.
I have more goals.
All right.
I'm working on my handstands, and I'm working on my boxing, and I'm working on feeling stronger and more.
Perfect. Well, then we'll come back to those next time. That's what we'll do. So there you have it, Miami, a health journey that I think that you can relate to, with so many parts that were touched today. So it's about recharging your life, balancing your well-being, paying attention to those areas that need attention, putting yourself first, and taking care of your health. We'll see you again soon. Bye.